It is that time of year again. NHL free agency. It is that day where free agents signed with new teams. Like, nothing much happened with the Rangers in the beginning, but it has with other teams. I mean, like, Jake Gensel going to Tampa Bay. Some of the Panthers going elsewhere. The Predators getting Steven Stamkos, Jonathan Marchessault, and Brady Shea. Insane. Like, there wasn't a lot in the beginning, but the noise got bigger as time went by. So let us talk about those moves. But before we talk about this, let's talk about the moves that happened before the free agency frenzy. And two of those things actually happened during the playoffs. It's like when the postseason ended, we had three main priorities, and that is extending Kaapo Kakko, extending Ryan Lindgren, and extending Braden Schneider. It's like they're due for new contracts and stuff. And surprisingly, we got one of the big moves out of the way, and that happened right before Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Like, the Rangers didn't wait until hockey season was over to make a move. They did it quickly by extending Kaapo Kakko for another year. Like, last season was his best season as he scored 18 goals, 22 assists, and 40 points in all 82 games. It was definitely great, and it looked like Kakko would break out soon, like Hito and Lafreniere did. Sadly, he went backwards this season thanks to injuries, as he scored 13 goals, 6 assists, and 19 points in 61 games. Sure, he scored 13 goals, the majority of those goals being after his return from injury, which is good, but still, we were hoping he'd repeat last season, if not better, especially since Lafreniere became elite this season. The Rangers knew it too, so that is why he is back for another year, hoping injuries don't come back to prevent him from growing. Hopefully next season we will get the Kakko from 2 seasons ago, if not better. Like, we have $9 million in cap space now. Now all we gotta do is extend Lindgren and Schneider and we should be fine. Thank God we got the Kakko extension out of the way quickly. And there was another move the Rangers made during the finals, but it was a shocking move, but somewhat expected. It's like, believe it or not, Barclay Goodrow was put on waivers on June 18th. You may be thinking, really? Goodrow? Why? He scored 6 goals in the playoffs, which is second in goal scoring. Second. He got 8 points in 16 playoff games, which is the best postseason of his career. He scored so many shorthanded goals. He got 2 goals in 1 game. He scored in overtime against the Panthers. Goodrow! Barclay Goodrow has won it in overtime. Yes. And the Rangers have even the series. And he scored 5 goals in 6 playoff games. 5 and 6. Like, he was the second best scorer in the Eastern Conference Finals. He did everything, and you put him on waivers? Why? Well, I admit that putting him on waivers is that right after a dominant postseason is weird, but at the same time, it made sense. Like, listen, I don't have a problem against Goodrow. Like, he is a good player, he's great for depth and physicality, and he has great leadership. The problem I had was his contract. If you don't remember, he was paid $3.6 million per year for 6 years. 6 years. That is a gross overpayment. And that is a contract for top 6 guys. Like Buchnevich. And speak of the devil. Not a bottom 6er. And that contract is why we lost great players such as Frank Vetrano, Andrew Kopp, Vladimir Tarasenko, Patrick Kane, and Nico Mikkola. I would have also said Ryan Strome, but then again, if we didn't lose Strome, we wouldn't have gotten Vincent Trocheck. It's like getting Goodrow wasn't bad. It was the contract that was a massive albatross. It was terrible the day it was announced. 3 years would have made sense, not 6. And the contract is only halfway done. His first 2 years wasn't bad as he got over 30 points and scored at least 10 goals, which were the best of his career. It is good, but that doesn't mean we made a steal. The contract is only successful if A, the rest of the contract has the same production, or B, it wins us the cup. Guess what happened this season? This season was a massive collapse for Goodrow, as he only scored 4 goals, 8 assists, and 12 points in 80 games, which is the worst season of his career, and it proved that the contract was a massive albatross. This season was only saved thanks to his playoff performance, but even then, it was not enough. They are putting him on waivers for cap reasons. They're trying to clear cap space so they can have enough to extend Ryan Lindgren and Braden Schneider, and potentially a top 6 winner. Knowing the type of player he is and what he can do, it was only a matter of time before someone claims him from waivers. That someone will definitely take on his albatross contract. Unsurprisingly, the day after we put him on waivers, someone did. And not just any team, but one of his old teams. The San Jose Sharks have claimed Barclay Goodrow off waivers. Goodrow is now back with the team he started with. I will say this. I'm gonna miss having Goodrow with us. He is still grossly overpaid, but he still did great things for us. Not enough to be worth $3.6 million for 6 years, but still a good asset. At least the Sharks have him back. He can definitely help with the Sharks' depth, and they have him for 3 years instead of 6. What the Sharks have left of Goodrow is the contract we should have paid him, especially since that is how long he was with us. It's gonna suck that he's gone, but still, the worst contract in Rangers history is officially off the books. $3.6 million have been cleared. Our cap space went from $9 million to $12 million, meaning we have more than enough cap space to extend Ryan Lindgren and Braden Schneider, and possibly a top 6 winner. I would have said Tyler Toffoli, but he chose San Jose. Not only that, but Igor and Lafreniere have contracts due next season, so that will help us as well. As for Goodrow, thanks for all you did for us. Good luck back to where it all started. And I know you'll be thinking, what are you talking about? That's not the worst contract in Rangers history. The worst contract in Rangers history is the Brad Richards contract. Yeah, he got bought out, but Brad Richards was not that bad with us. Sure, he was getting on decline, but he was still really good. I'm certain if we didn't buy him out, he could have been the next Rangers captain instead of Ryan McDonough. There's a reason why I have his jersey. He was still good. It made sense in the beginning. But for Goodrow, as soon as we saw that contract, just no. I mean, it's not Jack Campbell bad, but it's down bad. Although I will admit the way we handle him put on waivers was not cool because he didn't know about it until the last second. and he didn't want to leave. And the Sharks, and also Goudreau had a no trade clause. The Sharks were part of his no trade list, and we sent him there anyways, which is brutal. But at least we didn't give him the Steven Stamkos treatment. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what we did in free agency. The Rangers were being quiet, and we were waiting to see what was going on. And finally, something did. But it wasn't a sign-in. It was a trade. The Rangers have traded their second-round pick and their fifth-round pick to the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for Reilly Smith. Reilly Smith is a Ranger. Drafted in the third round by the Dallas Stars in 2009, the brother of former Ranger Brendan Smith, who is now with the Dallas Stars. Funny how that works. Started off slow with Dallas as he spent some time in the minors and was in and out. Then, everything changed in 2013 when he, along with Louis Eriksson, Joe Morrow, and Matt Fraser, got traded to the Boston Bruins for Tyler Seguin, Rich Peverley, and Ryan Button. As soon as he came to the Bruins, Smith started to take off as he scored 20 goals, playing on the first line with Patrice Bergeron and Brad Marchand. He did well with the Bruins. 2 years later, he got traded to the Florida Panthers, and he did well with the Florida Panthers for 2 years as well, helping them go to the playoffs in 2016. Then in 2017, he, along with Jonathan Marchessault, got traded to the newly expansion team, the Vegas Golden Knights, because the Panthers wanted to keep Nick Bjugstad and Alex Petrovic. Bjugstad was good at the beginning, but then fell off the face of the map and got traded multiple times. Thankfully for him, he revived in the final career of the Coyotes. As for Petrovic, he just returned to the NHL after spending 5 years in the minors. And you know the rest. Reilly Smith and Jonathan Marchessault would become key contributors to the Vegas Golden Knights. They made the Cup Finals in year 1, made back-to-back conference finals appearances in years 3 and 4, and by year 6, as predicted, Reilly Smith won the Stanley Cup with the Vegas Golden Knights in 2023. And Jonathan Marchessault won the Conn Smythe Trophy in the process, thus making the Smith and Marchessault trade the worst trade in Panthers history, literally haunting them for years to come. That is until the Panthers won the Cup this year. But Smith was good with Vegas. His best season was his first with Vegas, where he scored 22 goals, 38 assists, and 60 points in 67 games. The most goals he scored in a season was 27 in the 2019-20 season. After winning the Cup, Smith was traded to the Penguins for cap reasons, but after one season, he wasn't doing well with the Penguins. And now, he is with the Rangers. We desperately needed a top 6 winner, and Smith is our guy. Sure, he is past his prime and is on a slow decline, but he is still really good. And to make things more interesting, the Penguins are willing to retain 25% of Smith's salary, meaning we pay for most of it and not all of it. But I can't wait to see what he would do with us. Welcome to the Rangers, Reilly Smith. The Rangers made another sign-in, and that involves Sam Carrick. Drafted in the 5th round by the Leafs in 2010, Carrick didn't do much in the NHL. He spent some years in the minors before being traded by the Blackhawks in 2016. Then less than a year later, he got traded to the Anaheim Ducks, where he would spend his majority of his career. He spent most of his career in the minors, and it looked like it would stay that way. That is until the 2018-19 season, where he scored 32 goals, 29 assists, and 61 points in 61 games in the minors. And he was a key contributor to help the San Diego Gulls make the conference finals. Sure, he was still a fourth-line guy, but he was good enough in the minors to be relied on in the NHL. His best season was in the 2021-22 season, where he scored 11 goals, 8 assists, and 19 points in 64 games. Not really good, but good enough for a fourth-liner to stay in the league. He continued to play with the Ducks until the trade deadline, where he, along with Adam Henrique, got traded to the Edmonton Oilers, where he and the Oilers made it all the way to the Stanley Cup Final, where they nearly came back from a 3-0 deficit to the Florida Panthers. Sadly, they lost, but it was still a good effort. He only played 10 games and wasn't a factor, but of course, because he was on a deep team, he needed the Cup Final tax. And he did with the Rangers, as he signed a $1 million contract for 3 years. 3 years for Sam Carrick? Look, I get you want to replace Barclay Goodrow, but we were supposed to have Johnny Brodzinski as our new fourth-line center. You really think Carrick is our answer? Of course, we lost some players. Before we make our next move, the Rangers have lost Eric Gustafsson. He has signed a 2-year contract with the Detroit Red Wings. Like Gustafsson was really good with us this season, as this past season he scored 6 goals, 25 assists, and 31 points in 76 games. For a third-pair defenseman, that was really good. Sure, he only got 3 assists in the playoffs, but he was still a great asset. Perfect partner for Braden Schneider. But of course, due to the cap and stuff, we couldn't keep him, especially since with the rise of Zach Jones. Like, unless the Rangers make another move, Zach Jones will be our new defender with Braden Schneider. And not only that, but the Rangers have qualified Ryan Lindgren, Braden Schneider, Matthew Robertson, and Carl Henriksen. Carl Henriksen was surprising because he was going to leave for the KHL, meaning we would lose him for nothing, adding more wounds to the infamous McDonough and Miller trade. But this is good, so hopefully we can get Lindgren and Schneider extended soon. We have $8 million in cap space to work with. It would have been 6 if the Penguins didn't retain salary for Smith. We only did 2 things in day 1 of free agency. But of course we made more moves on day 2. One of them is signing Casey Fitzgerald to a 2-year contract. Drafted in the 3rd round by the Buffalo Sabres in 2016, he had a great beginning before the draft, where he got gold medals in 3 international tournaments for USA. 3 gold medals. After that, he played 4 seasons in the minors for Buffalo. He finally got action in the NHL in 2021, mostly because of injuries and inconsistent defense, but he got to play. Then in 2023, he was put on waivers by Buffalo. He was then picked up by the Florida Panthers, and he would spend another year with them. Perfect timing to be a Panther too, because in 2023, they made an underdog run to the Stanley Cup Finals, and this year, they won the Cup. Even though he didn't play with the Panthers this season, he was part of the organization, so Casey Fitzgerald is pretty much a Stanley Cup champion. He is a 3rd-pair defenseman at best. He got 9 assists in the NHL. He has yet to score his first NHL goal. In the minors in Buffalo, he was okay. But this season in the minors in Florida, he had his best season as he scored 4 goals, 17 assists, and 21 points in 69 games. Not a lot, but still decent. Of course, he's going to play for the Wolfpack, which should definitely help. But he is definitely someone we can call up if Fox, Trouba, and or Schneider get injured. Definitely a decent sign-in. The Rangers made another move. This time, it's sign-in Bo Grolks. Drafted in the second round in 2018, Grolks spent his career with the Ducks. Most of them have been in the minors. His best season in the NHL was his rookie season with the Ducks in the 2021-22 season, where he scored a goal, 2 assists, and 3 points in 18 games. Not really good. But in the minors, he is good, as his best season came the year after his best season as a Duck, where he scored 18 goals, 21 assists, and 39 points in 69 games. He is definitely a bottom sixer. Of course, he will play for the Wolfpack. These signings are decent and all, but we still have contracts to give to Ryan Lindgren and Braden Schneider. We need to extend them before focusing on the Wolfpack. In other news, Alexander Wenberg has gone as well. He left as a free agent to sign a 2-year, $5 million contract with the San Jose Sharks. Seriously? A 2-year, $5 million contract for a guy who barely did much for us? He was doing decently well before we got him, as this past season he scored 9 goals, 16 assists, and 25 points in 60 games for the Kraken. And then we got him in the trade deadline for the second round pick. And his time with the Rangers is just meh. In 19 regular season games for the Rangers, he only scored 1 goal, 4 assists, and 5 points in 19 games. At the beginning, having Wenberg with us made sense, since we needed to find a replacement for Philip Hedl. He was a good idea in the beginning, but then Hedl came back later on in the playoffs, which made Alex Wenberg a massive liability. As when Hedl returned, Wenberg didn't do anything. Sure, he only got an assist, but for a guy that we expect to help us in the playoffs, it's not enough. But he did eventually score in the playoffs for the Rangers, and it was the goal that allowed the Rangers to beat the Panthers in overtime in Game 3.
Yeah! Wenberg! Finally, Wenberg got a goal in the playoffs! And it is over! And the Rangers have taken the lead!
It's definitely well deserved, but it was still disappointing, especially since Hedl came back, making Wenberg's purpose meaningless. He's gonna go to the Sharks. He should definitely help. To have the centerman we have the centerman of Macklin Celebrini, Logan Couture, Alex Wenberg, and Barclay Goodrow. It's gotta be the Sharks are gonna be the Sharks were already gonna get better, but now they're even more better than they were before. Speaking of the trade deadline and stuff, we lost another player from the trade deadline on the 4th of July, Jack Roslovic. He has signed a 1-year deal with the Carolina Hurricanes. Roslovic was pretty good before he got traded to us, as he scored 6 goals, 17 assists, and 23 points in 40 games. Definitely good. He was okay when he was with the Rangers, as he scored 3 goals, 5 assists, and 8 points in 19 games. He was actually good, pretty good in the playoffs with the Rangers, as he scored 2 goals, 6 assists, and 8 points in 16 games. Sure, most of those points were scored in the first round, but he was still pretty decent. But of course, because of the cap, we knew we were going to lose him. So now he's going to go to the Hurricanes. So first we've lost Alex Wenberg. Then we lost Jack Roslovic. I mean, from looking all this, it looks like every single trade deadline piece that we got was going to be gone. But surprisingly, it was not the case because the Rangers have made an extension. We've extended Chad Ruhwedel. Chad Ruhwedel has been extended for another year. Like, I'm surprised we got him back. I thought he would be gone, but it is an interesting extension. We only got 5 games out of him, and even though he produced 0 points with us, he looked decent with us. He will definitely be our 7th defenseman, and he should be useful if Fox, Trouba, and or Schneider get injured. It is a 2-way contract, so we could send him to the minors if we wanted to. I mean, he's too much of a veteran for us to do that, but we'll see. But he's definitely the main guy to call up. Like, it's great to have Ruhwedel back. Now, can we please extend Lindgren and Schneider? Speaking of, Ryan Lindgren filed for salary arbitration. I mean, it's like the money is not the issue. They already figured that out. He's going to get paid $3 million. The only thing they have to figure out is the terms. Like, we have over $5 million left in cap space. Let's use $3 million for Lindgren and $2 million for Schneider. So we've been waiting and waiting and waiting. And after waiting, one of the moves we were waiting to happen happened. It is finally done. Braden Schneider has finally been extended. He is staying with the Rangers, and he's staying with the Rangers for 2 more years. He will get $2 million per year, which I and many others predicted. And this past season has been his best season, as he scored 5 goals, 14 assists, and 19 points in 82 games. Not only that, but he was good. But when Jacob Trouba was out with suspension and stuff, he was on a pair with Keandre Miller, and they both worked pretty well together. So much so that even with Trouba back, we kept them as a pair into the playoffs. It's like he definitely deserves an extension after he stepped up when needed. Like, this is awesome. Now all we have to do is extend Ryan Lindgren and we'll be all set. And ladies and gentlemen, they did. They were able to extend their defenseman, Matthew Robertson. They've extended Matthew Robertson for another year. He just finished his entry-level contract, and it is good we extended him. Drafted in the 2nd round in 2019, Robertson did good leading up to the draft and after the draft. In the OHL, he is a point-per-game defenseman, especially his best season in 2021, when he scored 4 goals, 18 assists, and 22 points in 22 games. Sure, his highest goal total was when he scored 13 goals the previous season, but it is really good. And of course, he came to the Wolfpack. Offensively, he has been decent 3 years with the Wolfpack, as he consistently scored at least 20 points. His best was last season when he scored 5 goals, 18 assists, and 23 points in 57 games. That is good, and so impressive that he got called up to the Rangers when they needed defense due to injuries. Sure, he never got to play a game, but to get considered constantly is something. Defensively, however, is a different story, as his plus-minus rating has always been in the negative. Sure, it is small, but it is still not good. He will continue to develop with us. Just keep going, and someday you can finally play a game with us. And that is pretty much it. And as I'm recording this, we're still waiting on Ryan Lindgren to get extended. Come on. You already got the money. You got to figure out the years. Shouldn't take that long to figure out the years. I mean, just pick a year and just have him sign and be done with it. I mean, sure, his salary arbitration date is August 2nd, but still, we needed to be done sooner. Like, we gotta take him before someone else does. But that is it right now. It's like, and the free agency for the Rangers were pretty interesting. Of course, the biggest piece we got is Reilly Smith. And with getting rid of Barclay Goodrow, we shed a lot of cap space to sign a lot of players. And like the Lindgren's contract extension will definitely happen. It's only a matter of when. But that's all we have to do now. After that, we're all set. And hopefully these moves are the final pieces needed to lead us to a cup. Because if it wasn't for the Panthers shutting us down and being so good and stuff, we would have played the Oilers and we could have won. We just happened to face against a much better team that definitely were built to win the cup, which they did. But let's see what happens, and let's wait till the season begins. But I'm excited for it.
Jay Theodore. Chip times at the bottom of your screen. Theodore shot. Did not make it through. Carlson across. Score! Reilly Smith! Vegas was able to get some fresh players on the ice. What a pass by William Karlsson right there. And Florida was just absolutely out of gas, Jonesy, and it was just a matter of time. That's where it comes for one, guys.